So, we've got our binding sewn on to the back of the quilt. Now we're going to flip it to the front, wonder clip it down, and I'm going to get a close-in zoom on this so you can see what I'm doing there, okay? So, we have our binding attached to the back of the quilt. Let's see here. You can see it right there. Backwards to the camera. There we go. Yeah, binding is attached to the back of the quilt. Then we're going to flip it to the front and wonder clip it down. I'll show you a few tricks along the way. Okay, I'm going to reset the camera so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is what I keep my wonder clips in. It's a little pumpkin jar. That's just me. I'm kind of quirky. But I have it full of my little treasure of wonder clips. So I'm going to be using these smaller red ones for this. Okay. Set that lid out of the way. And here we go. And by the smaller ones, this is what I mean. Right there. As opposed to larger green ones. Big difference in size. Okay. So, I'm just going to start in the center of one of the long edges of the quilt. And I'm going to flip it to the front. Oops, I'm just going to wonder clip it on. Up there like that. Can you see that? Let me zoom in a little closer for this. Right there. Then about every 6 inches, I'm going to attach another one. Okay. So, pinch it and clip it. Okay. Pinch it and clip it. I'm just going to go around the entire perimeter of the quilt, doing the pin and the clip, pinch and clip, pinch and clip. Okay. Wonder clips are a great investment for your quilting and sewing needs. You can even use them in place of a straight pin when you're sewing garments or quilt pieces. Save your fingers. You don't have to use a straight pin and puncture your finger. Okay. See if I can get this down a little bit better. See? Right there. About every 6 inches or so. Okay. I'm going to work my way to the first corner, and I do something special at the corners. By doing this, when you go to the machine to top stitch it down, it's all held in place, nice and neat. There's no surprises. And it just makes it a much smoother process. So, reposition this so we can see this. So I'm at a corner. So I'm going to fold the corner over from the back to the front. Okay, see there? Look at the back of it. Okay. Now I'm going to put a clip all the way up to this corner. I'm just going to let it come out to the side like so. Okay. I'll put that clip right at the corner. There. See there? Okay. Now here is where you can actually look at it and fold that miter over so it lines up perfectly. And we'll put a second clip on the other side of that corner. Okay, I'm going to hold this up and hopefully you can get an idea of what I'm doing here. Check that out. Right there. That's the front of the quilt. There's the back of it. That is anchoring that miter in that corner down. So when we go to the machine, it's going to hold it in place as we stitch up to where that clipping line is. So I'm going to go on down the rest of it, and I'm just going to keep binding, putting the wonder clips on all the way around the edge of this quilt. Okay. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to stop talking, hopefully. We'll see about that. And I'm just going to continue adding these clips all the way around the edge of this quilt. And we're almost down to where we started. Then we're going to go back to the corners because I'm going to do something a little extra there. I'm going to show you a trick to make it super easy to keep those corners aligned before we go to the sewing machine. Just a few little extra steps you can take to make the whole process go so much smoother once we start stitching down, top stitching down our binding. Okay. Now I have wonder clips all the way around. There we are. Hello. So, the corner right here, I'm going to use a product called Roxanne's Glue Basted. Has a fine tip on it. I'm going to put one drop on each side of that corner and wonder clip that binding down to that glue. This is made for quilters. It will not hurt your quilt. It washes out. You'll never see it. But by doing that, and let me try to zoom in on this so you can really see what I'm doing here. Now when I fold this over right on top of that glue, I'm going to clip right on top of where the dot of the glue is. Same way over here. And I'm going to let it set for a little bit, and it will hold that corner perfectly in place right where I want it. Okay. So first I'm just going to fold this over like so. Put me a clip on it. I'm going to fold this up. Sure, I make a nice square corner on my binding. Then I'm going to clip that on, and I'm going to let it set. I'm going to hold it up a little bit closer here. Oops, right there. And if I hold it just right, you can see the miter on that before I even sew it. See it? Right there. Okay, I'm going to repeat that process at the other four corners, and then we'll go to the sewing machine. Okay, so now we are going to set up the machine to do the top stitching to stitch down our binding to our quilt on the top. Okay, so we are going to go to icon number 2 right over here, press it, and then we want stitch number -219. That is a serpentine stitch. You can see it just kind of makes this little way up and down the screen. That's the stitch we're going to use. We're going to use the pre-programmed in settings down here. It'll work out just fine. And now we are going to take off the 1/4 inch plate and attach this, which is called the open-toed plate. We get a good view of what we're going to be working with. And we'll do that now, and we'll get started. So we're going to take off our 1/4 inch foot. It just comes right out. We're going to attach the open-toed foot. See that wide opening there? You can see exactly where our fabric is falling under the needle. Have that attached. And then we're going to change out our thread color. I'm going to put in the same color thread for this top stitching that was used to quilt the quilt with, in this case red. And hit the thread button. Okay, our needle is threaded. Okay, and we're going to get 1/4 of the quilt, and we are going to start in a corner because I want the needle to drop right down in that miter line. Okay, I'm going to take off some of these clips. And when you see this, you can see that basting glue is holding my mitered corner right in place. Makes it super easy to get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the edge of the binding that's loose and run it right along the edge of this open-toed foot. Check it out. Right there. I want the needle to drop right into the miter line. Okay. The needle will drop right on the fold where the miter corner is for that binding. Check my place it with my hand wheel. Perfect. And we're going to get started. Once again, I always have my needle in the down position when it stops. Take off that clip. We'll go a little further. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see a little more of what's going on. There we go. Okay. Here, when I finish this little section, I'm going to move it around so you can see what it's done. Okay, ready? Check it out. Can you see that there? Right here. Hold it up a different way. Yeah, it's too dark. There you go. You can see that beautiful little serpentine stitch. And by using the same color thread on top of this binding material that the quilt was quilted in, it brings continuity to all of the stitching on top, on the quilt. It really looks nice. We'll get a better look at it once we're done. Okay, so we're going to keep on keeping on. Work our way down this edge of the quilt. Here is the finished binding. Check it out. Let's go up here to this other corner. And there's a few little loose threads to trim yet. I have to go back and do that. Let's go over here to this corner. We'll check that out. Nice mitered corners. And on the back, it's just as nice. And that's all there is to it. Binding made easy.